We begin in Russia, where a court has sentenced Wall Street Journal journalist Evan Gershkovich to 16 years in prison. After 3 days of closed-door hearings, the court in the city of Yekaterinburg found Mr. Gershkovich guilty of spying. He was accused of acting on orders of the US Central Intelligence Agency to gather information about a Russian factory producing tanks for the war in Ukraine. The Wall Street Journal and the White House deny the charges. So was this 16-year sentence expected? I asked our correspondent, Yuri Rasheta.
Yes, initially the prosecutor even wanted 18 years, so now 16 years punishment colony with particularly hard conditions, as it's called, is very harsh, but not surprising for the espionage Evan Gershkovich is accused of. Gershkovich denies the allegations, you said it, Phil. As a reminder, he was detained in the Russian Urals in the city Yekaterinburg in March 2023 after a meeting with a local politician. He was on research there. Since then, he was held in the pre-trial detention center in Moscow. It's remarkable how quickly the trial took place. Suddenly, only 3 days it took. The trial was closed to the press. We know no details. We only know that the local politician with whom Gershkovich met in Yekaterinburg before he was arrested, that politician was called as a witness yesterday to the court.
And there have been expectations that Mr. Gershkovich could be swapped for a Russian citizen being held in a Western prison. How likely is that?
Well, the Russians have made it clear several times previously that they would like to exchange Evan Gershkovich for a Russian citizen in a Western prison. The day before yesterday, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov confirmed that the issue was being discussed at the level of the intelligence services. That may be a good sign for Evan Gershkovich. Of course, no names are officially mentioned, but it is assumed that one of the potential prisoners for a swap could be Vadim Krasikov. Presumably, Moscow would like to get him out of a prison in Berlin. Krasikov is the so-called Tiergarten murderer. In August 2019, he shot another Russian citizen in the middle of the day in Berlin's Tiergarten Park, presumably on behalf of the Russian Secret Service. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in Germany. And a few months ago, even Russian President Putin was asked in an interview about the possibility of swapping Gershkovich for someone else. Putin said that he didn't rule out Gershkovich returning home and indicated that it could be Krasikov in Germany who could be swapped for Gershkovich. However, this exchange is problematic because the USA has nothing to do with the case, and the German legal authorities don't want to be put under pressure neither by the Russians nor by the Americans.
Right, so there's a message here for other foreign journalists working in Russia. How dangerous is it for them to stay?
Well, all journalists live in danger in Russia for years, and especially independent Russian journalists who still report from Russia. But yes, you're right. The latest since the arrest of Evan Gershkovich, we know that the threat to freedom is very real for Western journalists too, especially since the war in Ukraine. According to Reporters Without Borders, Phil, more than 100 journalists have been declared alleged foreign agents. Critical media have had to close. Independent media have had to close. And some websites are often banned without a court order. We at Deutsche Welle are also considered to be so-called foreign agents in Russia. DW Studio Moscow, you said it, had to close shortly before the war began. But despite this closure, we have been reporting on Russia now here from Riga.
OK, thanks for that, Yuri. DW's Riga Bureau Chief, Yuri Rasheta. Thank you so much.